Hi and welcome to the video training of JavaScript. In today's video training we will be learning about 10 awesome JavaScript shorthand techniques. The shorthand techniques in any programming language help you write code in a much cleaner, optimized and shorter form. And these techniques let you write code in fewer lines and also will help you save some time. Now let's go through some shorthand techniques one by one. The first one is ternary operator. If you just want to assign a value to a variable based on a condition, that is a great alternative. So const age equals 15. So the longhand version is that you are going to define a variable called message and we're going to add a condition. If age is greater than 18, then message equal the person is an adult, else message the person is not an adult. Similarly, the longhand const message is age is greater than 18, then the person is an adult, otherwise the person is not an adult. Let's try this in our browser. So let's go to developer tools and console. We can try our program here. Const age equals 15 and we can say let message, and if age is greater than 18, message equals the person is an adult, else else message the person is not an adult. That's our condition. So the answer is the person is not an adult. So the message holds. So if we wanted it to be in a shorthand form, we will say const message equals age is greater than 18. If age is greater than 18, then the person is an adult. Now the else part will come after the colon. The person is not an adult. We have already defined the message variable, so we can use it as message1. And if I want to print the value of message1, it says the person is not an adult. So this is the shorthand form of doing it. Similarly, you can also add an equivalent of an if-else if statement to this shorthand as shown. So what you can do is you can define the age factor, the constant variable, by assigning it a string, that is the person is an adult if his age is greater than 18, or he's a teenager if his age is greater than 12, otherwise the person is a child. So let's look at the shorthand version of this. I'm going to clear the console here. Let's clear the console, and now we can try our shorthand function. Const age equals 15. Age has already been declared. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start a new incognito window and open the developer tools. Let age equals to 15. Const message equals age is greater than 18. The person is an adult, colon, age is greater than 12, the person is a teenager, and in the else part we will say the person is a child. So let's print the value of message, and we get the person is a teenager because we defined age equal 15, and this statement executed, that is age greater than 12, the person is a teenager. Now let's look at the second shorthand technique, that is assigning default value. If you want to assign a default value to a variable only if it is either null or undefined, you can use the nullish coalescing operator, that is double question mark, to do this constant message. So let's try this. Going to close the browser and run it again. Okay, let's open the developer tools, the console. We want the console, and now let's try our longhand version first. So if I say if message equal null or message equal undefined, message equals hello. Okay, it says message is not defined. So if I want to print the value of message, it says undefined. So what we can do is we can define message, and now let's try our program, this one, and now it holds the value hello. So if I want to say console.log message plus there says hello there. Now the shorthand version to the same functionality can be console.log message. If there is message, then concat with hello, otherwise there. So we have hello there. The third shortcut technique is short circuit evaluation with double equal. The double question mark operator executes the right side expression only if the left side expression returns anything other than null or undefined. So let's say we have two functions, one is function 1 and one is function 3, and then we want to check if the function 1 is not undefined, then we call function 3. So there is also a shorthand method to do the same functionality by using the short circuit evaluation. So if we clear it and let's try, let's start with function 1 equals we'll get this function 1 console.log function 1 called return undefined, that's function 1. Now let's define function 3 and we will will say console.log function 3 called return hello. Let's close this function. Okay, so the longhand statement will be if function 1 is not equal undefined, then console.log call function 3. So it says function 1 called because function 1 is not equal to undefined, so function 1 was called, and you can see it here, function 1 was called. Now we can do the same thing in a shorthand version. You can say console.log function 1 short circuit valuation function 3 says function 1 called, function 3 called, and hello. So this is the shorthand version. Checking a property exists within an object. Generally, when you access the properties within an object using the dot operator, if any of them are not defined, then an error is thrown. When you use the question dot operator, if any of the properties are either null or undefined, the operator returns undefined instead of throwing an error. So let's define an object person equals name colon John, age colon 25, address colon city colon LA, state colon California, so we have defined a person object with these properties. So the longhand version can be console.log person person dot address and person dot address dot country there is no country, so it will return undefined. Now let's look at the shorthand version. Console.log person question mark dot address question mark dot country. That's it, and we get the same result as above. So that way you can do the processing in a shorthand way. Now let's look at the fifth one, that is default values with double question mark equal. This operator is similar to the double question mark operator and will reduce a step further. Instead of the user assigning the value separately, this operator assigns the default value at once if the given value is null or undefined. So let's look at the longhand version. Let's define a greetings function that takes two parameters, part 1 and part 2. If part 2 equals null or part 2 equal undefined, then part 2 equals explanation mark string, and let's close the if condition, and then return part 1 plus part 2. There goes our function greetings. Now if I say console.log greetings and I pass in the string hello, it gives me an error message because I left a parenthesis at the end and gives me hello. The shorthand version of defining the same function would have been var greetings 2 equals part 1 part 2 and part 2 double question mark equal explanation mark return part 1 plus part 2. That's it, and it returns the same function as greetings, so with the thing. So if I say console.log greetings 2 and I pass in the hello string, I get hello again. So this is same as what we did above, but this time we use the shorthand technique. Now let's look at assigning multiple values. You can assign multiple values at the same time using destructing. So let's define two variables, let 1 2. Okay, 1 equals 1 and 2 equals 2. Now the shorthand version would have been 1 2 equals 1 comma 2. This is the shorthand function. Okay, let's look at the object example. So we can have person equals name colon John, and we have age colon 25. It's the person object, and the longhand version would have been let name equals person dot name and let age equals person dot age. The shorthand version would have been let name colon age equals person. So this is, you can see we have John in the name variable and 25 in the age variable. Now let's look at the short circuit evaluation with double M. If you want to execute a function only if a condition evaluates to anything other than falsy values, then you can use short circuit evaluation with double AND as shown. Let's look at example 1. So if there is a function called authorized and if it returns true or false, we can give a statement that if is authorized then load home page. The shorthand for this expression would have been is authorized and load home page. So is authorized will be called first, and if it returns false, the second part of the AND evaluation won't be executed. So this is same as the above longhand version. Now let's look at the example 2. In the longhand we can say if x equals 1 or x equals 5 or x equals 7, then run function 1. The shorthand version would have been in a square brackets 1, 5, 7 dot includes x and function 1. So this shorthand version basically is checking the value of x in the square bracket array, that it is present there or not. If it's present, then it will run the function 1, otherwise it won't. Now let's look at the template literals. If you wanted to concatenate variables with static string content, you would use the plus operator, and while using the plus operator you would need to manage spaces yourself. You can achieve the same thing in a much simpler way using template literals. Let's look at the longhand version. So if we define a constant sample and we are going to have 3 lines of strings, let's say lorem ipsum and this string, and at the end we need to add a line break, that is \n and \t, close the string and add a plus operator, that is a concatenate operator, and then we start the second line with the double quotes, conclude that line, and then we add \n, \t and the last line, and we end it with double quotes and semicolon. The shorthand version and a simpler version would have been using a tilde sign. So const sample equals, start with the tilde sign and enter your whole string, all 3 lines, and end with the tilde sign again and semicolon. This is much simpler and easier to manage than the longhand version. Now let's look at alternative for a switch statement. You can use an object with function names associated with a key as an alternative for a switch statement. So if we have const something equal to, the longhand version would have been a switch case block which receives a variable something. So case 1 would have been do something, case 2 do something else, and case 3 do something else and over. But the shorthand version will be simply declaring a cases variable and making it equal to 1, 2 and 3, and making them equivalent by adding a colon sign, do something else, and do something else and over again, and calling the cases variable and passing the second index in the array, which would have called do something else and over. Now let's look at the last property and shorthand technique, that is object property assignment. If an object key should be the same as the variable name, then defining object literals can be done in a much easier way as shown below. So let's say we have a constant name John, city New York, and age 25. The longhand version would have been to define a constant person object with name, city, age. The shorthand version would have been much simpler by simply declaring constant person equals name, city, age, because as you can see above, the name of the variable, that is the key, and the value is the same. So we are assigning name to name, city to city, and age to age. So we can simply remove the colon name, colon city, and colon age from the longhand version and make it simpler using the shorthand version. I hope that you have liked this video. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Feel free to contact me at umehmood@gmail.com, visit my LinkedIn profile or my Twitter handle. I'll be more than happy to help you. See you next time with a new video, JavaScript.